I'm going to be using Photoshop today to make this little animation here. The woman in this photograph is Paris Mumpower, a former student of mine. She's an art director and fashion photographer out in Los Angeles, California, and she actually got known for doing these little animated GIFs. And so this project's kind of inspired by her and her work. I'm going to hit stop on this, and we're going to go to the original photograph. And at the moment, I don't need to be looking at the timeline, so I'm just going to turn that off. So we're going to start off, and you need to be in Photoshop 2024 to do this. I am going to select my subject. And it does a pretty darn good job of selecting just Paris out of this photograph. But there's a little bit of this stanchion here. Maybe I want to select the hair a little bit differently. So with my smart toolbar here, I'm going to come to this drop down menu. I'm going to come to this one here that says modify selection. And if I come down to the bottom, it says select and mask. So now that I'm in the select and mask window, I can choose how I am looking at the image. And right now I'm looking at the image. My Photoshop is set up to show it on a white background, and white was turned up to 100%. But I have all these different choices. I can be looking at this on layers, as a black and white mask, on white, on black, as an overlay, just as a selection, or as onion skinning. And with each of these, you'll see I can adjust the transparency. So I was working on white and had my transparency turned up rather high. I'm going to use my brush tool here, and if I click the add button, anything I draw will add to the selection. If I have it in subtract, it will get rid of parts that I do not want selected. So I want to get rid of this little area by her hair. I want to get rid of a little bit of extra detail here that's coming down her finger. And I want to get rid of this stanchion back in here. Now, besides using the paintbrush tool, I could use the select, and I could set this to add to selection or subtract from selection. Well, I'm going to use this as subtract from selection, and I'm just going to draw with this around the area I want to get rid of, and it'll remove that from the selection. Okay, well, it's not 100% perfect, but for what we're going to be doing today, it is absolutely going to work. I'm going to slide down to the bottom over here, and I'm going to say output to, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to output to a new layer with layer mask. And hit OK. So now, if I look at this, I've got what looks like Paris by herself, and I've got an image that is original with Paris still on the background. Now, what I want to do is I want to remove Paris from this background using Generative Fill. So I'm going to use my lasso tool, and I'm going to draw around, don't know why that happened. I'm going to draw around Paris, but I don't want it to be overly close because I want it to make a transition between her and the background. So I'm not worrying too much about the edge of this line, just getting around her. And now with that selection made, I'm going to go ahead and say Generative Fill. And instead of giving it a description, I'm just going to say generate. It's going to generate, and it's going to give me a couple different options. So obviously this is using artificial intelligence. It's going up to the cloud, rendering it, and it did a pretty good job. I'm happy with that. I think I'm going to get rid of the shadow of the stanchions here. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove those. Hit Generative Fill and generate. Okay, so I'm happy with that. It's not perfect. I could take a look at my other variations, and let's see here. Oh, I like that one better, and I think I like that one even better. So I'm going to go with this one. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten everything here, but leave this one visibility turned off. As I'm thinking about it, I'm going to actually remove this person out of the background real quick. So let's try that. Now remember, it's going to give us a couple selections, and we can choose which one we like the best. And those couple selections are called variations. So let's come up to variations. It looks like it added a person walking towards us. I don't know if that person was there before. If they were, I didn't notice them. So up here, I'm going to scroll down, and it looks like this person has been added in all of them. Well, they're not as distracting. I'm going to go with this one right here. So if I look at my layers, and I'm just going to hover here and stretch up to see them all, this layer right here has things on top of it so we can't see it, but I'm going to click on it and drag it to the top of the stack. And now if I turn it on and off, you can see there's Paris on the background, and there's the background without Paris, and that's exactly what I want. So I am going to flatten all of these layers here, and to do this with these selected, all I have to do is hit Command E, which is the command for merge layers. So I'm going to hit Command E, and so now I just have a background, and I have Paris on her own layer.